Greetings and welcome to Old Drunken Discography, where old friends and fans come together to BS, argue, occasionally agree, and discuss a musical artist. This week's artist is The Who, and we will be talking about The Who by numbers. If you've missed our previous videos on The Who, there's a link down below, playlist, go check them out. This is our current rankings. I'm Jason. With me is Tim.
That's me.
And our special guest who saved our butts, the Chaimster.
Hello.
Hello, mate.
Governor.
Don't hate us, UK. So yeah, we're talking The Who by numbers. I'm gonna save my notes for the end on this. I'm really curious what you guys think about this. This was a new record for me.
Okay, so this is another one that I bought at the beginning of my amazing journey into The Who. Got it on CD. Still my only copy of it. But I really like this album, actually. I think Slip Kid is super underrated. One of the few times you're going to get Keith playing in an odd time signature. Squeezebox was the hit that people know, and it's kind of goofy. But the rest of the album is pretty dark.
Hey, Squeezebox would make a badass CCR song.
Sure. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it'd be
it's just
their
an
best
okay
song.
Who song, but it would be the most amazing CCR song ever written.
Yeah, it's a really personal record. Pete's starting to like feel the cracks in The Who, I think, and it's starting to come across in the songwriting. Dreaming from the Waist is great. Every song on here is great. The Entwistle song, Success Story, is a personal favorite in this entire discography for me. Top song contender. Blue, Red, and Gray is super poppy. It's like being played on a ukulele, but it's really good. How Many Friends? Like, there's just a whole bunch of really good stuff on this album. There's no concept. It's just songs, and they're great. The production here is great. Yeah, a lot of great songs here, I think.
Slip Kid is apparently part of the Lifehouse concept.
Really?
Yeah, it shows up there in the Lifehouse Chronicles.
Oh, see, I only have like the one disc, like best of compilation from it. I never heard the whole box set of it.
Yeah,
so.
I shelled out whatever it cost for the box set, and it's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never knew that was part of it.
Yeah,
that's a great song.
It's a really interesting demo, too. There's a really interesting demo for However Much I Booze on Scoop 3 also.
Okay.
Squeezebox, yeah, that shows up on the original Scoop album, Pete's first compilation of released demos, which incidentally sold better than Mick Jagger's first solo album. He refers to Squeezebox as a poorly aimed joke. Because obviously it's the sexual overtones are more than obvious, but really what it's about is a miniature accordion, which is a squeeze box. But it's a fun song. I remember, I think it was a single, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I remember it being on the radio. I remember seeing the album riveted to the wall in a Corvette in Colony, New York, when I was a kid, back in 1975, when I was really into my AFX race car set. I'm like, what's that? Yeah. Imagine a Man is a beautiful song. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of sadness on this album. When Townsend first played the demos for it, Keith burst into tears because he really empathized with what was going on for Pete as a as a superstar, and it's really sort of the lament of superstardom. They're all in love. You know, there's all of this is a meditation on the miseries of touring and aging. And
even that little song fits into that. Take 276. You know this used to be fun.
You know this used to be fun. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ain't it funny how they're all Cleopatra? Ain't it funny how they're all Cleopatra? When you gaze into their past, when you find out about their birth sign, you realize there was no need to have asked.
What I really like about this the lyrics, is you kind of alluded to, like, they don't sound very happy.
No, he's an unhappy guy.
The music on this record, though, it just puts me in a good mood.
Yeah, it's beautiful, textured, lilting music. It's true. There's the music has a beauty and a happiness to it, in counterpoint to the sadness of the subject matter.
The guitar riff of Slip Kid puts me in a good mood.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful song. There's the musicality. You know, they've become virtuosos as musicians here, and they sound wonderful. You know, if you thought they sounded great on Quadrophenia, here's more of just that great sound, great back to basics rock and roll too. You know.
Yeah, that's another draw to the record. Booze just makes me feel good listening to it. The lyrics are great. Squeezebox. Yeah. You got Pete on the banjo. Dreaming from the Waist. What a cool name for a song. The Who were just cool. Sound like a priest. And then I'm shooting dice. I'm burning tires with some guy whose hair is turning white. That's just cool.
Where do you fit? Magazine. The past is the hero and the present a queen.
Imagine a Man reminds me of, like, Beck, One Foot in the Grave era. It's like, it's just a beautiful piece of music. And and You Will, the end with the drums coming in gives me goosebumps. Success Story, another Ox classic. Keith does some weird shit that elevates it. They can still tell stories and do all the cool things from the past records, but keep it under 4 minutes.
Right. They're back to singles.
They are all in love, happy vibes again. The piano riff, Roger's vocals, and then it goes.
I think Mickey Hopkins is on piano there. Pretty sure.
Oh.
Correct.
I can double check that, but I believe so.
Either way,
it's correct.
It's some top tier stuff. Blue, red, and gray, and then it transitions into blue, red, and gray. I think Tim kind of mentioned it. It's so jarring, but it works so well together. It has a ukulele, and I'm guessing a French horn because I think
Entwistle comes in with the French horn, and the remix of the album really pumps up the French horn mix.
Which is probably the version I heard. Whatever's on Spotify.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely remastered.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of, like, put on a happy face, forced irony type feel to the lyrics. The, like, hey guys, you know, we're only here to entertain type vibe.
When I first signed a contract, it was more than a handshake thin. I know it still is, but there's a plain fact. We talk so much shit behind each other's back.
Yeah. I love how many friends. The first verse, singing from the viewpoint of a woman, was done really well.
Mm-hmm.
The chorus is just a sing-along classic that just soars. The guitar's doing crazy crap. The closing track, I love the bass in it. It's insanely good. I was super impressed with this record, and I'm currently eyeing the vinyl on Amazon.
It leaves you wanting more.
This was a phenomenal record. I'd always heard, like, Quadrophenia and then the Who just kind of dip off. No, that wasn't the case for me.
And the cover illustration is by John Entwistle.
Which kind of ties with Who's Next. If we were still ranking art, this would be a top contender right here.
He's a very competent illustrator, isn't he?
I kind of want to print it out and, like, fill in the numbers myself.
right? Get 2 vinyl copies.
Mm.
Spend $60 so I can fill in the dots.
And when I was a summer camp counselor in the summer of '85, I named my group the Slip Kids, and we did our sign for our picnic table was based on Who by Numbers.
That'd be
There
a
you
cool
go.
name for a
That's
band
cool.
right there, the Slip Kids.
Yep.
That's all.
Yeah, I'm
that's all I got
surprised
for
that
this
song
record.
doesn't get more traction. I mean, I know like we're dealing with a whole bunch of hits in this discography, but Slip Kid especially, that should be up there.
I've gotten multiple top song contenders from this record. I loved this record.
Yeah, I do too.
This was a great one for me.
I love folding laundry and listening to this album.
I could see that working. It's such a musically, it just put me in a good, especially after going from Quadrophenia and then like hearing Slip Kid. It was like I don't want to say a breath of fresh air. It was just a different kind of air, I guess, and it worked for me.
I see myself on TV. I'm a faker. I'm a paper clown. It's clear to all my friends that I habitually lie. I just bring them down.
It's very.
There's just a lot of self-deprecating regret.
But it sounds so
Very
happy
honest.
musically.
Very honest record.
Yeah.
It's almost pop punk in the sense of like, it sounds happy, but when you really listen to it, it's not a happy record lyrically.
Yeah.
I don't know. That always appeals to me. I'm a sucker for, hey guys, everything's great. When it's really not type thing. Does anybody else have anything they want to talk about with the Who by numbers?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward one. There, just a great collection of songs. At this point, I think it's safe to say that Pete Townsend has established himself as one of the great writers in rock and roll. And personally, I would go as far to say he's up there with some of the best composers of the 20th century at this point.
He's definitely recognized as such.
And rightfully so. Yeah.
What was I going to say about this? This was the year also that they were voted the best live act in Rolling Stone.
It was around this time too that they got into the Guinness Book of World Records for being the loudest band.
Yeah.
Do they still hold that record?
They no longer hold that record. No, I think Manowar went out and they juiced up their loincloths and went out and broke that record.
Someone needs to go check out Dinosaur Jr. They're pretty freaking loud too.
Motorhead was pretty loud too. So
I think it's important at this point to start talking about the fact that tragedy began to follow the band around as well. As early as 1970, when Keith accidentally, ran over his chauffeur Neil Boland, sort of trudging onward, these pieces of tragedy that kind of stick with the band, and you start to wonder how much of it is finding its way, that trauma is finding its way into the catalog. Does it sit there in the background? Does it inform the sadness? The futility of touring. If touring is what really this is all about, if it's going to be marred with misery, is it truly worth it? Is rock and is pop, is stardom really all that it's cut out to be?
I was trying to think of another example of a band that kind of put out a by numbers record, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. But like where you've reached like the peak, and you push.
And then what do you do next? Yeah.
That's kind of what this record feels like. Like what do you do after Quadrophenia or Tommy?
Well, and you could almost say that like "Wish You Were Here" would fit into that category. You know, how do you follow up Dark Side of the Moon? Well, with another classic.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you top yourself?
Yeah, yeah.
Without descending into, alcohol.
And how do you top yourself for what, the 4th or 5th time in a row?
Where everyone just has expectations of you.
Yeah.
That is a stellar discography from Sellout to By Numbers alone.
Yeah.
Not even considering what came before or after. Speaking of, though, everything that came before, where would you rank this one? Because I'm pretty sure this is going to be my hot take.
Well, I'm going to put it at number 4.
Over Quadrophenia?
I mean, you know, like we just said, all these albums are pretty close to perfection. And I don't know, I think the only real difference between this and Quadrophenia for me is By Numbers just sounds better to my ears. Quadrophenia is probably, the better idea, and you could argue some of those songs are better, but this one just has a sound to it, I think, that is special.
Well, once again, it's another Glyn Johns production.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, maybe my take's not so hot after all, then. Because I'm going to say the exact same thing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Only it's number 3 for me.
Wow.
This one blew me away when I heard it. I've gone back to it a couple times, and I'm like I said, like I want to
make sure it wasn't a fluke.
Yeah, because you don't hear much about this one too often.
Because the one real single that was a hit is kind of a jokey song.
Yeah, so I went into it with low expectations, but by the second track, I'm like, hold up, this is really good. Like I said, I need more time with Quadrophenia. It's very possible that could overtake it, but just on surface level, By Numbers is a phenomenal record. And I know that's a hot take in the Who community. At least I think it is, but it is what it is, mate.
I'm going to put it at number 6.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have any choice in the matter.
No, I don't.
I do. He
but
says
I'm
it's
not
number
mad
1.
at that.
It's better than number 1. No.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
This whole rating thing is, catch me on a different day, and it'll be another tricky day.
Yep, there's been plenty of discographies that we've recorded and then gone back to afterwards and be like, man, yeah.
I mean, you got to start somewhere, though.
Yeah, that's all for the entertainment of the viewer,
right?
And gives us an excuse to sit around and drink and talk about the Who. So it's a win-win.
Because I need one of those.
All right, up next. Who are you? So, stick around, like, subscribe, hit the playlist, check us out, leave us a comment, let us know what you think about By Numbers. Am I crazy for having it number 3? Is Chaimster crazy for having it number 6? Is Tim just right for having it number 4? Let us know down below. We don't know. As always, be safe. Make good decisions.